Hey guys, back to 32nd scale aircraft again this week. This time we're looking at Hasegawa's 1/32nd scale P-47D Thunderbolt kit. Let's open her on up and take a look. So, one thing right out of the gate that I like that they've done on this kit is include both the closed and open canopy as two separate option parts. This does make it a lot easier to build with, and also gives you the option to use one as potentially a mask for the cockpit area while painting. But overall, both are in great shape, clear, nicely scale thin. I have no complaints there. You also got your gun sights and various other odd and end parts for various lights, all fantastically clear. No complaints. Now, this next sprue will give you a real fantastic idea just how huge this kit is with this main fuselage have, and it is massive. For reference, my arm's about from elbow to wrist about a foot long, so tells you this thing is massive. I mean, just absolutely massive. And for to be perfectly honest, it's completely appropriate, as the 47 was one of the largest single engine aircraft produced during the war. So for them to capture it in like this is fantastic. All the surface detailing is nice, sharply done. It's all recessed panel lining. It will look fantastic once you do like a wash over it to really make all that pop out, especially against a natural metal finish. Continuing on, we've got our two of our halves for the tail, as well as full half of the flaps. Sorry, they're done as two separate pieces. We'll get into those a little more later. We have two separate parts for some of the main gear doors, as well as part of our cockpit floor, and also our main gears and part of the cowling. Next sprue gives us more of the fuselage. Again, just how massive it is. We've got two parts for our double wasp radial engine, as well as the other parts for the flaps. Again, like the fact that we have the option to do them in different positioning and as separate pieces. One complaint I did find on this particular set is lack of the back detail on the engines. Now, obviously, with radials, they're going to be pretty well closed up. You're not going to see a lot of this detail. But it does mean if you want to do a diorama set with the engine being worked on, you're going to have to get an aftermarket one or take the time to fill all of this in, which I would say is not worth it. It's better just to bite the bullet and get the aftermarket one. Continuing on, we got a couple more odd and end parts for various components, as well as some of the wheels. Next up, we've got our two sets of wing halves, and again, this gives you a real great idea of just how massive this thing will be, both unassembled and once it's built. Again, much like the fuselage, surface detailing is excellent. Continuing on, now we're getting into more of the detailing sprues, as well as taking our wheels. Two different options for our centerline tank, both the centerline tank and some of the wing tanks, some bombs, as well as a very nicely detailed pilot figure. It was one of the best out of the box ones I've seen. Overall, Hasegawa has done an excellent job on this kit. We'll skip over the mirror. Now, another thing I like about this kit is that it gives you a bunch of different options for our props, as 47 had various props throughout its life, so having these all included is a great plus to have, as it allows you to build the type specific to the one you're going to want to build, as there's plenty of aftermarket options. So this is one of those areas. Definitely do your homework and make sure you're using the right prop on the aircraft you're planning to build. Now, continuing on from here, we got some parts to detail up the engine as well as some of the cockpit parts. Overall, fantastically sharp and properly scaled. I've got nothing really to complain about. This is one of those kits, there's only so much I can say. Next up, and this part is purely for supporting the wings. The fact that they include basically a wing spar for this thing tells you just how big this thing is, that it actually needs something like that. Now, beyond that, we've got our tail gear bay, as well as the parts to build up the main gear bay. Just out of the box, they're nicely detailed. Obviously, if you wanted to add more, you can, but I'd say for most people, it's fine as is. We've got parts for our cockpit tub, sidewalls, a very nicely done instrument panel, which hopefully camera will focus. You do have the option to use a decal on it. I would say it's almost good to go out of the box and just paint it yourself. It's that good. Beyond that, a couple other odds and end parts for the cowling, the build up. Breakdown's a little odd, so you want to take some time there and make sure you get everything aligned. But beyond that, fantastic. Put these all back. Move on to the decals. Now, included with the kit is a very large decal sheet, comprising a total of 3 different aircraft, including D-Day markings, and everything's nice, sharp color. The whites are brilliant, nice white. And yeah, another case of not a whole lot I need to say. Again, instrument panel comprised for decals. Now, unfortunately, where this kit does run into an issue is the complexity of the build. There's a lot going on, so you need to pay careful attention to your build process, as it's very easy to goof up, especially depending on which version you're building. Specifically, at least according with the instructions, you can build either a 25 or a dash 25 or a dash 30. So pay attention. But building up, it's pretty straightforward, starting with the cockpit and moving on, building up the various wing components. Now, one thing to pay attention to if you're building dash 30 is removing this rake part here, and it's only up to this hinge point for the flaps. So be careful when moving that. Let me make sure to get this on camera right there. So that is something to be aware of. As I said before, be careful and do your homework on the version you're planning to build. Beyond that, though, once you do get it together, it will be a truly fantastic kit. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Okay. And as I said before, different versions for the props. Includes 2 other versions that aren't referenced for use in the instructions. And as I said before, you've got 3 different options. My own complaint with the choice of marking options is the lack of some good nose art. The only one being that with this last one, and it's the dash 30. So, overall, this is a fantastic kit. I mean, absolutely fantastic kit. Tons of detail, tons of options. The only problem is that it is a very complicated build. So I cannot recommend this kit for beginners. This is definitely for a more advanced modeler. However, once you do build it up, it's going to be a showstopper piece. Just from size alone, it's going to draw attention. But as I said, this is one you're definitely going to have to do your homework on. Know what plane you're going to build before you jump into it. Know what parts you're going to need, what parts need to be modified, and then build. So that was a look at Hasegawa's terrific 1/32 scale P-47D Thunderbolt kit. Great kit, but definitely one you have to know what you're doing before you start building it. Until next time.